What is going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here at Steen7904. That is the DFS handle around the industry. It is 5:30 in the dot, 2:30. That's on the East Coast, of course, 2:30 on the West Coast, 4:30 Tennessee time. So, of course, then we just time for the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It's called Grinderslive. Joining me today, I had to double check. I missed like a late swap or something going on here. It's the king of BVP. You know him from the OGs podcast, was just fired up. Yourself, Noto, and the maker of beer, two-time millionaire winner, and he's also the eater of cereal. It's Head Chopper. What's going on, Chop?
What's up, Dean? Glad to get a show in with you this year. I think that's our first MLB show together. But hey man, my boy Kirk Deese, he called. He says, I got a rough day tomorrow. I said, I'll do anything, man. Anything you need me to do, I'm here for you. So I'm gonna fill in for him today.
All right, you're pulling a meatloaf there. Yeah, that was that's nice. I don't know. I thought there was something with corporate or whatever. You said, listen, like me and Dean, we're not compatible. We can't work. You didn't. There was nothing like that. There was no notes you slipped in there. I was like, why do I never do shows with Chop? But we're good, right?
Yeah, there's just too much baseball talent at RG. They don't need me to do these shows.
Well, I mean, you won $1 million not too long. No, not $1 million. Well, wait, no, it was 100,000, not $1 million.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, wow. I forgot about that. I'm glad you're right. Yeah, you're right, Dean. Maybe I do need some self-esteem help.
I do like that, and you won it because I'm the guy that screams. Well, not screams, but I'm always like, you don't always have to stack stacks. You don't everybody stack, and I understand why you stack. I understand correlation. You do too, but you won. I believe you won 100K with a 4-1-1-1-1 lineup. Is that correct?
Yeah, Dean, I like that. I do. I know I'll catch a lot of flack for it from a lot of the guys, but I think we do overstack these days a lot. So I like to dial it back a little bit and try to do things a little different. So that particular night was a nice little 4-1-1-1-1.
Is it worth the public shame though? Is it worth to be shamed publicly? Is that worth $100,000 that to win with such a terrible lineup?
Dean, first of all, I didn't throw any dollar figures out there. You throwing the dollars? You're assuming I won 100K, but there's a chance maybe I didn't win 100K. Maybe I had 90,000 in play, Dean, and I only profited 10. We don't know about that.
Well, that Twitter big T math though, you still, if it's 100,000, you won 100,000. Doesn't matter how much you bought in for.
But you know what? I've never really cared too much about being publicly shamed. So shame away, man. If I keep winning, shame away. I don't care.
What are your thoughts as far as the slate tonight? Obviously, one of the big things we're kind of worried about or concerned about, that 2.5 hours out as far as the first pitch there in Chicago. A combination platter as far as the weather and Wrigley tonight. We're anticipating some sort of weather issues, also precipitation, and the other version of weather, wind. Wrigley's known for the wind. So if the game does play, we're expecting a really good wind game. Of course, the Cubs are terrible at baseball, and I don't really know if people still want to roster the Cubs, despite the fact that it might be blowing out if the weather's, clear enough to play ball. Do you have a general thought, a general strategy? Obviously, again, we're 2.5 hours out, so it's really hard to say. We're waiting to see what Roth has to say. I'm sure he's going to update his weather soon enough. And of course, he'll be on crunch time to give his final thoughts, or at least the best of final thoughts you can give at 7:00, as opposed to, the game starts at 8. But I think that's kind of the cloud that's over this slate. At least that's the one thing that's a big decision point for me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, for the most part, for many years now, Roth has been the Mariano Rivera of weather guys here. And but last night, some would say he definitely blew a save, and others would say he's lost his fastball this year. I'm not saying it. Some guys have said it, not me, not me personally. So we're waiting on that update.
It was a good run.
Hopefully it's a good update for us. Yeah, I mean, that's a big one, man. We got the wind, and there's huge offense in that game. Arrieta, we could talk about him when we come to it, but he's been bad. So yeah, there's a lot. That's a big game right there. It's a big one. But it's 11 games, and that's pretty big for a Wednesday night slate. Usually they split them up, so we don't have this many games. So we got plenty of other options. Even if you thought that was going to, even if it was 100% to play with those ownerships, there's still other places you could go because it's a bigger slate. So I think it's going to shaping up to be pretty fun stuff.
You think people are going to be a little bit gun shy as far? You mentioned ownership, and like I got hurt last night. I'm sure a lot of people got hurt last night. And I made that move where I played a one-off in the game that was kind of dicey as far as weather. And like, as a general thought, I don't like to do that with Alonso for the Mets, like on DK was just such a good price in one of my main lineups. They played an inning or so. He got a double that probably if the wind wasn't, there was weather already going down and he was hitting, and it would have probably went out if it wasn't for the wind. Doesn't matter. But you think people are going to be scared? This is the recent, it's small sample size, recency bias and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just curious to see like how close it is, obviously. And then if it's perfectly clear, like you said, Milwaukee is going to be super heavily owned because the matchup against Arrieta, the presumed win's going to hold up, and they have a team total over 6. But is that something that kind of is in your thought process tonight?
Yeah, over the last week or so, I've gotten a couple of rainouts put on my lineups.
Yeah,
just as short, and I'm fine with that because it will lower the ownership. People do get scared off, so. Now a Milwaukee team that may be like several guys 20+% owned normally, maybe that comes in way under if those reports keep on with that orange or orange red or whatever they want to throw out there. Anything darker than a yellow tone, and people will get scared off. So that's good. I'll keep on saying, and if I get bid again, then so be it. They say in the DFS universe, all things balance out. And so if I catch 3 rainouts at some point, the DFS gods will make it up to me.
Hey, have you been watching that Ted Lasso? You're aware of Ted Lasso, right?
Oh, love me some Ted Lasso. Yeah.
He teaches some good life lessons, and one you can apply to DFS. Be a goldfish, right? Like, just whatever happened yesterday, who cares? Clean slate, forget about yesterday, forget about last week, and, stick to your process and do what you're supposed to do. Sure, yesterday didn't work out, or yesterday his team got rained out. What does that do with today? Right? There you go.
Listen, he has some good lessons, and also Dean.
Yeah,
it is tough to get through some of those episodes without a little partial tear welling up in the eyes. He's got some emotional stuff in there.
Yeah. Do you watch? Is that with the family, or is that just yourself?
No. Oh no, that's one where everybody goes to bed, and I need a little something to watch for Chopper's alone time, and that's Ted Lasso.
That's like you watch Ted Lasso when you have your second dinner, your bowl of cereal.
No, that's much later. See, no. Bowl of cereal, there's dinner. The bowl of cereal comes around 9 p.m.-ish. Roughly 11, people start winding down and go to bed. So by 11:30, I got the big room with the big TV to myself, and then I'll fire up some Ted Lasso.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's. I just finally got Apple, and I'm all caught up and I'm good to go. And it's different now, a different experience. Like, oh wait, you got to wait a week for a new episode. That's which I kind of like. It's kind of a throwback. But all right, let's talk about the slate. You mentioned 11 games. Of course, it's just 11. It's 11 on DK. But there's only 10 on FanDuel. FanDuel dumps the 7-inning game. Mets and Washington is the 7-gamer. It's on DK. You talked about Milwaukee being a big stack, of course, but there are some great pivots. Toronto against the Angels. The Dodgers are kind of popping off the page for me as well. That Baltimore Detroit game, especially when you consider prices. So those Baltimore hitters are really, really cheap. They can kind of make things work for you. Of course, everybody else sees that as well. Well, we talked about the hitting or just the general thought as far as that game in Milwaukee, but I think as far as pitchers, let's talk about our pitchers tonight. The best pitcher on the slate is in Chicago as well. Corbin Burns, 35% K rate. That's 5% higher than anybody else facing a Cub team. When you consider their current iteration, I don't think we get their lineup just yet, but their current iteration strikes out more than any other team in baseball against righties. So we have the biggest K guy versus the team that strikes out the most. Of course, there's a potential win, but if you don't hit the ball, doesn't matter how much the wind is doing it. So Corbin Burns, all things being equal, assuming weather is good to go, and that's how we'll go with this conversation. Otherwise, what's the point of keeping on bringing it up as far as the Brewers? But the people know. Is he your top pitcher, or are you spending up to Corbin Burns tonight?
I think he's a fine pitcher, and I think he's number 2 for me tonight. So I think he's fine. I like him, but I do have somebody else ahead of him. But Corbin Burns looks good. You're right. Yeah, in order to hit home runs with wind blowing out, you have to make contact. This lineup for Chicago is terrible. I see maybe 2 guys in there who really are realistic major league hitters right now. The rest of those guys are pretty bad. So,
Is that Contreras and Happ, I guess? That's the two?
That's about it. And Happ at number 3 is really stretching it also, right? So, yeah, those other guys
strikes out a lot.
Huh?
He also strikes out a lot. Both those guys strike out.
Yeah, those are your 2 highest strikeout hitters in this lineup against right-handers are actually the 2 best hitters. And so that tells you all you need to know. So yeah, Corbin Burns for sure in the mix, top 2 for me. But my guy that I like, and the team total kind of leads me there, is Kevin Gausman. I like Kevin Gausman tonight against Arizona's another team that got ravaged at the trade deadline. They've put their lineup out just now. It's terrible. I'm seeing very little that scares me in that lineup too. So when you get Kevin Gausman as a sub-3 team total against, I like that one.
We got a weather update as well too. Let's go ahead and get a refresh on that. I'm looking at the Arizona lineup as well. Van Meter leading off. He's pretty terrible. He strikes out a good bit too. And a bunch of players just a bit disappointing this year, like Calhoun and Peralta and Cabrera, significantly worse than their career stuff, and not a lot of power. I think win equity is on layaway. Feel pretty good about San Fran winning that game tonight. So what about like on DK? Would you pair those 2? Is that something you consider, or you have the salary for it, or you're going to spend up? I don't really like the cheaper pitchers. We'll talk about it. There's some that are worth considering, but I'm not thrilled about it. And I think it's not that hard to get 2 pitchers as well, because there's some goofy prices on DK.
Yeah, I think they're going to be owned pretty heavily. So I think it's a good cash game move to get 2 strong arms like that in there, just because, like you said, there's only really one other guy that I'm going to highlight. I think he's okay. And so cash games, I think you do it. You got 11 games to choose from. There's plenty of hitters out there, plenty of low dollar hitters. We're in that part of the season where some guys are cheaper and they're hitting higher in the order. So we can get some action there to help fit these guys in. GPPs, if you're talking about one of these guys being 40+% owned and the other guy being maybe 30-ish or more, that's a different story. That's a little bit tougher, but I do.
What are you playing for that, Chop? What are you doing? 1 lineup, 3 lineups? You're doing MME? What's your strategy?
MME, Dean. I'm gonna just go ahead and push. I'm gonna push 50 on DraftKings. Push 50 lineups on DraftKings, but these guys will definitely be in the mix. But I'll be underweight on the field on the 2 guys just because the ownership right now looks a little bit high.
And you're playing 50 in that contest that I hate. That I can't. 33% the first. Like when you win it, I
despise it. I wish they would balance it out, but they don't. So I got to play with what's out there, though.
Yeah, I just don't play it. But like, what's the fun in that? You got to play, right? I mean, I play the single entry stuff, the 3 entry stuff, and all that. But it's really hard for me to. I cannot click on that button when 100. Again, you won the 100K out of 300K. That's awesome. But you're probably not going to win it tonight. I'm sorry to say. Spoiler alert. Anybody out there watching is probably not going to win it tonight. I wish you luck, but you're probably not going to win. We do have a weather update, by the way, yellow orange now. So we've a bit of a positive spin here in Chicago. Again, this is still 2 hours out. Get Roth what he has to say here on Crunch Time as well, which follows us on the premium. If you guys want premium, get yourself $10 off the first month. The links will be dropped in chat as well. You can get it just one sport. Just, if you just want baseball, have at it. $10 off for baseball. You get all the sports football, college football. Chop, you got to be excited about college football. Was my UCF team, are we going to beat up on you guys again this year, or we don't match up?
Yeah, Houston's going to destroy UCF this year, but UCF's fine. Yes, I'm definitely Dean. I'm so looking forward to. I got a countdown timer for you, Dean, in case you were wondering.
When does it officially start?
The real season, not that week 0 where there's 3 weird games. The real stuff starts 24 days from now. So 24 days from now, we'll be kicking off into some real football, but should be fun.
Yeah, I think the NFL is like what 3? I think in 4 Thursdays, like from tomorrow. I'm pretty sure.
32 days, Dean. 32 days till the first NFL Sunday.
Get excited, man! And I assume you're on the college football team this year.
Oh yeah, definitely on the college football team. Wouldn't miss it. Some just here at RG, man. That's just the best college football guys. That group is pretty unbelievable. So that's where that's definitely one thing you want to. If you want to get that RG premium and you can only pick a couple sports, man, you got such a leg up if you pick college football as an RG premium product.
Yeah, so you can get it a la carte, but it's my understanding it's in the package deal. The only one that is not included in the package deal is NASCAR, but NFL, college, MMA, golf, esports, hockey, baseball, all that is included as well. The update in Chicago, another line of storms headed to Chicago tonight. Latest high resolution models bring it in after the game. But so right now, there's according to what we're seeing right now, most likely all the bad stuff's coming after the game, but a mid to later inning delay or unfinished game is certainly possible. So it seems, as of right now, Chalk, worst case scenario, we're going to get just a little bit of a shortened game. Like it hits around inning 7, inning 8, inning 9. I don't care about the pitcher then, right? If we go 6 or 7 clean, who cares? But all right, that's a positive turn, right? I think.
Yeah. And, as long as he doesn't tell me it looks like it's going to be, as long as he doesn't say it's going to get rained out, for sure this game ain't going to play, then I'm fine with it. Then I almost don't even worry about the report after that in GPPs. Then I'll let the chips fall where they may.
You said there was a third guy. Is the third guy, I'm going to go ahead and guess, right? You said there's 2 guys you're excited about, and there's a third guy as well. Is the third one Frankie Montas?
Wow, man. How'd you guess that one, Dean? Out of all those guys left on the board.
Well, I mean, I was going to say either Frankie Montas or Jake Arrieta. And I'm like, you know what?
Oh, man. Don't do that one too. No, yeah, I like him. He's a good pitcher, got some arm talent. I don't like Cleveland's lineup these days. They're just not good, and they just get too much respect from Vegas. And so I think and looking at the lineup tonight, really, realistically, there's one really good hitter in there. That's
J-Ram.
And to be honest, sometimes he goes up to the plate with chicken grease on his fingers and he can't hit anything. So, he's been known to grab some fried chicken in the dugout in between at bats.
I think you're thinking of Pedro Serrano. I'm pretty sure.
No, it's J-Ram. So sometimes you go up there and you don't wipe it off and he's flailing away, but that's a different story. All right, so you got this lineup here. I'm counting 4 guys tonight that strike out well over 30% against right-handed hitters. I'm right-handed pitching. Like that's bad right there. There's not much run production there. Jose Ramirez, Franmil Reyes, you may get someone off home runs. So I like Montes. I think he's a pretty decent pitcher, and it's a pretty good matchup for him.
And it's backloaded with plenty of Ks as well, too, with Hedges and Miller in there. Small sample size of Miller, but he's not, anything special, obviously. Like you said, you look at the plate IQ, there's 2 guys that are green as far as power. It's Ramirez and Reyes, and everybody else is just a whatever. Yeah, and Montas, pretty good K rate, 26% K rate, good walk rate this year, 6.3%. He's got a team that's trying to win, which is nice this time of year. I think matters to some degree. Yeah, I that's kind of where I'm at too. Those are my 3 favorite, Gausman included. And then, if you want to, Adam Wainwright in the year 2021 has been really good, and his Pittsburgh lineup is still not good. And we saw even Jay Happ was good against him last night. He had some help from the umpire if you're watching that game. Some terrible calls. Not as bad as the Little League World Series. I'm not sure if you saw those clips. Those umpires just want to go or something. The ball was like a foot outside. Maybe it's a different strike zone in Little League. I don't know, Chop, but yeah. Do you have a thought as far as Wainwright or Manoah's got some K stuff? And I think the cheapie that people are gonna buy into, at least on actual arm talent. Talk about arm talent. He's been up and down, and he's not a finished product, still figuring stuff out. Is Skubal on DK at 6.3K, kind of open things up for you. I saw Tyler Anderson love. That's matchup based. Like he's not a great pitcher. He's fine. Doesn't strike out a lot of dudes, but that Texas team is pretty awful. amongst those names I threw out there, who's jumping out for you? Who gets you excited? I guess none, because you're focusing on those three. But anything else to say about those other ones?
I would say the fourth, and he's a pretty good distance behind Montez, but the fourth for me is Manaya. He's got some really serious arm talent. Again, Angels are kind of similar to some of these other teams, just not really all that big of a lineup these days. Without Trout, there's really only one guy you really worry about, and the rest of them can be struck out. So Manaya is the guy. I just can't do a guy like Wainwright. I know he's been good this year. Not as great lately, but he's been good this year. But I can't do that. I can't do Stroman or Tyler Anderson. I don't think there's enough strikeouts there. You know, they could prove me wrong. And Stroman, I think, is only a DraftKings play. I'm not sure. So, yeah, you can go that route. And then the rest of those guys down there on that list, just looking, I don't see them. I don't know how Wade Miley has kind of made it like to this point, but he's looked pretty good, but I'm not falling for that one. Kyle Gibson, he's a good ground ball pitcher, right? And maybe he's kind of rejuvenated here with his new team, but this is too tough of a matchup. I'm not playing that one. So for me, it's those top three, and then Manaya is a distant fourth, and I definitely like Manaya, but he's so expensive. But after that, big drop off and tough to play these other guys.
I would just note there are a lot of Ks in that Pittsburgh lineup today, just for what it's worth, collectively at 29%. I mean, Alford's number kind of skews a little bit because he's got a 61% K rate and 31 at bats. And while he's not good, he's not a guy that's going to strike out 61% of the time going forward. And Castro, another guy, not a big sample, 31%, Polanco, 26%, Perez at 29%. They're without Stallings. They're better hitting catcher. You mentioned Gibson. There's no Betts went on the DL today, the IL today. So the Dodgers are, that lineup this weekend, just a ding. But like you said, there's no reason. Well, I mean, if you want to do some ownership stuff, whatever. I apologize if you guys hear rain in the background. I'm not sure if you can hear that, Chopper, but it's pouring here pretty good. So hopefully my internet holds up. Manoah is, got some K stuff there in Toronto, and I don't know how deep they're going to let him go, but he's a guy that in theory can strike out 8 or 9. I think he's interesting for tournaments if you're MMEing, but not in my main lineups necessarily. Anything else that's worth a note? I saw somebody in chat talking about Toussaint. Yeah, that's kind of my reaction too. I saw your smirk, and I cannot do Toussaint is not for me.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. It's a pretty good opposing lineup. He had his good starts there, and then he kind of got overvalued, and he hasn't been as good since then. So that's a pass for me.
No India in that lineup as well for Cincinnati. Farmers leading off for what it's worth. Give me the summary, Chop, and let's tell the people in chat. Go ahead and fire up some questions. Devin, our fabulous multitasking producer, is going to join the show in the last 10 minutes, last 15 minutes, depending on how things are going. He'll be asking questions on your behalf. Whatever we don't talk about, go ahead and feel free to ask. You want us to elaborate on something? You want this guy or that guy question, an overarching slate question, how to build specific lineups and specific contests. That kind of stuff's important. Feel free to ask whatever. We're happy to answer. And Chop, we got like 9 minutes to get on this Tom Brady, Brady drop. I'm getting in on it. I don't know. I don't even like Tom Brady, but like whatever. Well, I'll join it and see if I got a little FOMO. Like, I'm going to join it and see what happens. Let's all get in there and see if we can get ourselves a Tom Brady NFT. Are you excited for this?
For the Tom Brady NFT?
I'm DK.
I'm not sure. I kind of got rubbed the wrong way with old Top Shots there, but we'll see how it works out, man.
Be a goldfish, Chopper. A very broke goldfish.
I guess, Dean, because I see all these guys with this pixelated stuff on Twitter that are making our own Cal Spears, hundreds of thousands of dollars on some pixelated art. So I guess you got to take a shot at it.
Or sold or both. I don't know. He bought one or sold one for those kind of figures?
He bought one for cheap and sold one for 6 figures. So
good for him, man.
yeah. He just what he needed, another couple $100,000.
Hey, I'm not somebody that's out here like I don't want to be the old man yelling at the cloud, making fun of people with NFTs. Like I'm just like, I don't know. I'm happy to listen. I know there's a lot of smart people that are into it, but I don't have a good educated opinion on it. Sometimes it's like, it's important to know what you don't know. And I just don't know, but I'll dabble. Sure. Why not? Let's have some fun. Give me a summary as far as the arms, Chopper.
I wouldn't be scared to spend up on the big 2, and then even include Montos in that. Spend up tonight, and I think spending down with the cheap bats out there is really not the way to go at pitcher tonight. So let's spend some money and go with the arm talent.
All right. Let's talk about stacks first. We'll have time to go around the horn as well too. We can do that quickly because it's kind of a small slate and arms don't really take that much time. Chop, let's discuss stacks tonight. Oh, first of all, let me ask you this: you're making 50 lineups tonight. What are you putting in? What are you putting in the optimizer? Are you saying? I know sometimes I even see you talking about it in the expert survey. Some days you'll say, I'm just gonna not necessarily stack. If it happens organically, so be it. There's some players I will artificially bump up. Those are the guys I like. Whatever, we'll see how it plays out. Is that the strategy tonight? Is there like 3 or 4 teams are saying I want to get full stacks on these teams? What are you plugging into the optimizer tonight?
Tonight, 11 games. So it's really borderline. When we start to talk about 12 games or more, I really like to stack a lot. 11 games, you're right there. So I think tonight's a good night to do some 4-man stacks, some 5-man stacks. I just don't like double stacks, so I won't do that tonight. But I'll do some 4s and I'll do some 5s, and then I'll try to one-off some home runs. But when we get
Why
up
don't
to
you like double? Out of curiosity, I mean, I probably feel the same way you do. But go ahead.
I just think that people use the stacks. They do it just because everybody says to do it when you don't know the reason behind it. For me personally, I don't think the reason behind it is because, when this guy scores and then this guy scores and you're getting double points here and there. Home runs count the same whether they're in a stack or whether you one off a guy. So what I'm doing in my stacks, what I want is, I want an anomaly from the other pitching staff. I want a guy to be terrible that night and the bullpen guys to come in and be terrible and to score 10 runs. That's an anomaly. That's what I want. I don't want all the multiplying of points. So every slate's different. The pitching tonight doesn't jump off to me as really super bad. So, outside of maybe Arrieta and maybe a couple other guys. So I'll stack a little bit. The double stacks, I just think it's hard enough to nail down a good stack because then you got all these guys in the lineup. So you got to pick 4 or 5 out of there. They got to be good. It's hard enough to nail one stack. Really, really tough to nail the right parts of 2 stacks. It's even tougher for me, not just to hit a stack. Then I got to hit a second stack with the right parts. That's tougher than finding guys who are going to have good games with the bat one-off. I just think it's easier to do that. But, everybody has a different opinion, I guess.
Yeah, well, the counter to that is like, but correlation. And of course, you understand correlation, and it means more in FanDuel as well, too. But the other counter to that, I think, is like, okay, well, you're only playing Harrison Bader because you have a St. Louis stack, and I'm going to play Vladimir Guerrero. I know I'm making an extreme example, and Vladimir is just better than Bader. I know Bader's going to beat him a certain percentage because baseball is goofy, but when you don't constrict yourself to those rules, you end up getting a better collection of bats. So there's different ways of going about it, and I understand all the philosophies in different ways. And I'm also somebody, again, I'm not playing in a tournament rarely that have like 40,000 or 50,000 or 35,000. I'm playing more of the couple thousand single entry stuff, and you don't necessarily have to get as goofy or as far up the reservation. So whatever. And baseball, embrace the variance, yada yada. All right, let's talk about the stacks tonight. Is Milwaukee your favorite stack? That's going to be the way any optimizer is going to be spitting out Milwaukee. You talked about it. You alluded Arrieta, 2.3 homers per 9. Milwaukee locked in for 9 innings, presuming that the weather holds off. We got I guess we can call it a positive report, but we'll see. Stay tuned, see how that weather's going down and regularly later on. So still 2 hours until that game starts. Is Milwaukee your favorite team?
Yeah, they have to be. The odds-on favorites to be have the highest odds of scoring the most runs tonight. So they are weather dependent. Jake Arrieta, you mentioned some of it. He's just bad. Like not only is he giving up a lot of home runs, he's not working deep into games at all. Like he's been but he can't even get through 5 innings sometimes now. So the second part of that would be if he's out of there before 5 innings or 5 innings, now you got to turn it over to a bullpen that traded maybe 3 of their best arms out of that bullpen. It's a bad bullpen. There's a lot to like about Milwaukee. The only thing you don't like is the ownership, and you just deal with that. So maybe you find other routes instead of playing Yelich. Maybe you go, a different player or something like that in your stack. But Milwaukee's the odds-on favorite for me to be there. Toronto never gets enough love in the ownership these days. Maybe the price is so high that they don't, but Toronto's there. I liked I talked about Wade Miley. I like Atlanta. I like Atlanta because although I don't like the lineup without Acuna, and I was not on that lineup for a long time there, they did make some trades.
Yeah.
And anytime they get to face a lefty now, they brought in some pieces that you could, some would say they're lefty mashers. So
who would say that?
Well, some would say that. I like some of these pieces here against left-handers, so I like that one as kind of off the radar. Another team I like, Oakland. They bolstered their lineup at the trade deadline. That's a good looking lineup. I don't believe in Quantrill. I don't believe in Cleveland that much these days. So I like Oakland to have maybe a good game too. So that's some of the teams I'm looking at.
Yeah. Atlanta, you're talking about. Albie, switch hitter, better against lefties. Soler got a ton of power against lefties as well too. Travis d'Arnaud's back in our lives. First game back in a while. And I know you care about this, Chop. My best ball season long team. I had Wilson Ramos and Travis d'Arnaud at catcher. So finally, I get a catcher back. This is very important for me. We're at the top. We kind of scuffled a bit of late. So that, he just makes that stack. He's actually like a legit good hitting catcher, and Atlanta's been dealing with a bunch of terrible options every single day. And they always say, you got to put a catcher in your stack. Well, now you actually, if you're stacking Atlanta and you want to abide by that rule, you actually get a pretty decent one. Toronto against Dylan Bundy. I know Cheese was talking about his article today about Bundy hasn't given him a homer in his last 12 innings. Like, good for him, but I think that ends tonight. Springer's been on fire. Vladdy is just awesome. Where his dad used to play, one of the places his dad used to play. Dickerson is super, super cheap. He's 2K on FanDuel still, 2.9K. Don't see an official lineup just yet, but that lineup, tons of power. And Dylan Bundy is a fly ball guy that can give up some homers. I like that Toronto side a good bit. And I think, being on the West Coast, like you alluded to, is going to push that ownership down a little bit. People like their instant gratification. People want to know who's in the lineup right now. Yeah, as far as other teams that are kind of worth, I know Cheese like the Giants today too. I'm sure I'll talk about them on Crunch Time a little bit more than I like them. But hey, who am I to argue with Cheese? And also the Giants, like, they're fully stocked, right? This is as healthy as they've been all season. With Brandon Belt, and now of course they brought in the big bat of Chris Bryant. It's I don't know if they can take down the Dodgers. It'd be cool if they did. I guess good for them. But and I think are they still winning that division? I know it's really close, which is just weird. They a bunch of overachievers, but I'm happy for the team. Do you like the Giants? Is that another team you're considering, or not so much?
Yeah, they've made me a believer, Dean. They're very good at the fundamentals of baseball. It's incredible. So they got the best record in baseball. They're not only leading that division, they've got the best record in baseball. It's pretty rowdy. So yeah, give them credit, man. Give them credit where it's due. They should be able to do something here. Sometimes San Francisco is sneaky good for offense too. It's just sometimes that park, it depends on the weather and stuff like that. So maybe you get that tonight. I'm not going to check with Roth on that one, but yeah, Merrill Carroll.
Not to cut you off, but I saw earlier today, Weather Edge, it's kind of weird because it's in the 60s, 62 degrees, but 17 miles per hour as far as blowing out, kind of sort of left center. But I'm pretty sure that ballpark did some things construction-wise where they kind of subdue that. But in a 223 game sample, we've seen homers under those similar conditions. This isn't a massive number, but a bump of 13.7%, a bump of 6.4% as far as runs, and ERA jumping up 6% as well. I think I don't know, is that something? I guess if nothing else, that just says, like, I wouldn't let 60 degrees chase me away.
No, yeah, I like the lineup. Alex Dickerson is an okay player. He's got some potential. He got some upside, and that's all the way down there. He's hitting all the way down at number 7. It tells you the depth of the lineup. So that's always good. When you can get some guys in the bottom of the order in your stack, that's good. That's how you can win GPPs, is grabbing like a number 7 hitter or a number 8 hitter who has a big game. And there's potential there against Arizona. So I'm definitely with you on the Giants thing.
Well, the thing is, like, Kelly's not even like a terrible pitcher, but he will throw strikes, and he doesn't really have strikeout stuff. The other thing is the Giants, kind of to me in my head, are sort of like the National League version of the Rays, where like they will double swap guys in and out, especially with the pitcher spot. They'll take advantage of that too. And it's just annoying. Like you mentioned Dickerson, but like if a lefty comes in, he probably gets the hook. Wade's another guy who sometimes he gets the hook. Double swaps happen too. So they're just a frustrating team from a DFS perspective. And they're also, some of the parts are better than the individual pieces probably. But, like we said, kind of sort of somewhat overachievers. The Dodgers, let's talk about the Dodgers. How do you feel with them tonight?
Dean, quick update. I did not get a Tom Brady. I did. I repeat, I did not get a Tom Brady. That one went quick, and
well,
I got shut up.
I just turned over my page and it says the event has ended, so I assume I didn't get one either.
That one went quick, Dean. They're flying off the shelves now. So the Dodgers. Let's see here. Let me take a look at the Dodgers for you. Actually, I didn't love the Dodgers as a stack in general tonight. Like I said earlier, Kyle Gibson, ground ball pitcher. His first start in Citizens Bank Ballpark, 13 ground balls, 4 flyout. Like, I need some kind of extra base power in my stack. We don't have Mookie Betts, like you said, so it's a good lineup. I don't think it's a great lineup in this particular matchup. So if they score runs, I think they do it on the strength of walks and singles, and maybe not as much power, and that doesn't do it for. With that being said, there's plenty of guys in that lineup who are good one-offs too. Just not a big stack for me.
Did you see that Trey Turner slide yesterday?
That was pretty slick.
You have to watch that more than once. So you can't just watch that one time. You got to run it back at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a thing, man. It's good. I used to be able to do that, Dean, back in the day.
Did not exactly like that. Maybe in your head.
No, I felt like it was just like that.
No. Was that
there's just no video of it.
Was that your best sport, baseball?
Oh, heck no, man. I gave up on baseball after Little League. I just didn't like it. It was a little bit too slow and boring.
Fair enough. What was your best sport?
It was definitely football.
What was your position?
Linebacker. Dean, I was all state in Texas. I was all state linebacker.
That's a big state too. You were all state linebacker?
All state linebacker, Dean.
What?
Huge, man. Huge. I was the man, Dean. I was the man on defense.
You're like a Larry Izzo type. I'm just trying. I feel like you're not big enough to be all.
Dean, come on, Dean. 5'10". 5'10" is all you need to be.
All right, you're fair enough. All right, but you were on those Friday Night Lights, so that was, you kind of lived it basically. Is that what you're talking about?
It was the movie. There's no exaggerations there. The movie is just like real life.
The TV show as well.
Yes.
Do you want to go around the horn? I saw somebody in chat say go around the horn. We do that really quickly, just kind of give our favorite players at each position. Sometimes we skip it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes just bring Devin on. Do you want to do the around the horn really quickly, just to give a fair player?
Yeah, let's go real quick. Let's go around the horn real quick.
All right, and then we'll start loading up your questions in chat, and Devin will compile those. But go ahead. I'll yield to you, and I might throw a name in here or there, but I'll just let you go. Go ahead as far as catchers.
Catchers. Okay, we talked about the Giants. Buster Posey's there if you want to spend up, and if you want to save a few dollars, we have Britt Devine's doppelganger. He's out there. You can play a little Jan Gomes revenge going back to Cleveland tonight.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I got, Dean.
And Navarez, you like Navarez at all?
Yeah, I was just trying to limit it down. Navarez, I mean, anytime you get a catcher who's really good, hitting in the top 5, it's always good. It's just a matter of, do you want to pay for it?
First base is tricky because if you don't have a lot of money, you get Talise. If you have all the money in the world, you play Vladdy. And then there's like Muncy in the middle, and there's Escobar. I think he's eligible at multiple positions. But I think those are the guys that kind of sort of somewhat pop. Mancini's another guy you can play at different positions as well. But anything there that you mentioned, you like Oakland, so of course Olsen in the conversation. But when you start just running off every single name, how is that helpful? Who do you think you're going to land up the most as far as first base? I imagine Talise is going to grab a good bit of ownership because he's out of Milwaukee and he's cheap.
Yeah, the most will come down because of the salary to Talise and then Olsen. I like Olsen quite a bit. I'll throw this guy's name in there, even though he's third base also on FanDuel, but it's Eduardo Escobar. I like that too in that game. So those are the 3 I like.
Second base, Wong is leading off, correct? I believe he's going to be leading off there in Wrigley. Turner, you can play him at second. You can play him at shortstop. On the road, leading off, well positioned with those 5 ABs. He's a guy that can get there multiple ways, jacking a bag, potential for banging one out, swiping a bag as well. He can do both. Albies is better, against lefties. He's really burned me. That's the goldfish one, man. He's burned me so many times of late, and I keep loading up on him. But in theory, he should be a good play tonight. And then Muncy, of course, if you have the salary as well. Kike, Enrique Hernandez leading off versus a lefty as well too. We haven't talked about that Boston-Tampa game, and that feels like the hidden sneaky game that has 2 really good offenses, and like the pitchers aren't great. And I feel like that game's getting overly neglected. I don't know. Just if you're MMAing tonight, and you are, I think you should sprinkle in some stuff as far as that game. Your thoughts as far as second?
Yeah, two guys you mentioned are the two guys at the head, top of my. I like Ozzy Albies. I like that Atlanta stack against a left-hander. He's one of them, and I like Enrique Hernandez. Their left-handed matchup. Not as worried about the left-hander because they got a deep bullpen. Tampa does, so I don't know how many at bats he'll get, but he's just been really good this year. Period against lefties, righties. Not just a one-trick pony. He's got a good price tag on DraftKings, so I like Enrique and Ozzy as the top of my list.
Third base is kind of a soft position, as far as I can see. I mean, J-Ram, we talked about him, but he's kind of sort of like a one-off. Unless, I mean, I'm probably not going to stack Cleveland. I like Fran Mill as well, but collectively that lineup is pretty bad. We also both like Montas as well. Escobar, he's good, but you got to pay for him. He's pricey. Candelario's kind of sort of someone interesting, a lefty there versus Matt Harvey. We just mentioning Matt Harvey right now, who's been mostly pretty good. And this Detroit team is, it's fine. There's some hitters in there, but it's not like loaded with lefty power, which is more vulnerable to. As far as third, again, I think it's a pretty weak position. What excites you here?
So I mentioned Escobar. You got Austin Riley, the left-handed matchup there against Wade Miley. And going back to the Giants here, here's a question was in chat earlier. We can re-ask it later, but I'll go ahead and answer it right now. BVP, play of the day, Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant for the San Francisco Giants. We got a matchup with Merrill Kelly here. I like me some Chris Bryant at third base.
How many times could he possibly have faced Merrill Kelly? Let's see.
13 plate appearances, Dean.
2 walks, so 11 official at bats, 6 for 11 with 6 hits. Well, yeah, 3 doubles and a triple. All right.
I like it. 1 strikeout, 1 strikeout in 13 plate appearances. Okay, I like that. I like that. Some extra base power in there. We got to roll with it, Dean. We got to go with it, man.
As your BVP play of the day goes, though, that's pretty weak for an 11 gamer, isn't it? There's not a lot of BVP stuff out there, from what I can see.
Yeah, we have a lot of new blood out here between the lineups and the pitchers. There's a lot of new blood. It's BVP is it's getting a little bit washed up here this time of year.
Posey 7 for 17 versus Kelly, only struck out once, and you did mention that, and I do think it's important, like who controls the at bat, like walks versus strikeouts, like. Again, BVP, like you can have a whole conversation about it. And for some reason, you have to like either absolutely hate it or absolutely love it. Like you can't just have like a nuanced like opinion about it. Yeah, that's not allowed. But that's kind of where I'm at. All right, well, let's not get too far off track. We want to have questions in the chat in a second. Shortstop, what do you have? Because I think shortstop is a pretty loaded position. There's a lot of players I like at short.
Yeah, there's some good players here. I'll just the 3 guys that. So you got Willy Adames, like. I don't know what happened to him, man. He was maybe a little bit below average hitter at Tampa, comes here and just hits a switch, man. Now he's like the best shortstop in the game. So you got him if you want to pay up. Xander Bogaerts, really good hitter. I like Bogaerts. And then I'm going to go back to the Atlanta stack. Dansby Swanson stands out to me as a really good play. There's some other guys out there. They're also like you got to spend up at shortstop tonight. There's not very many cheapies that are doing it for you that hit up in the top 5 of the order.
A couple of things. I'll just say Park is 2K on DKs, but there is like you said, there's a big opportunity cost. And so like it's your shortstop probably needs to do something tonight. There's a lot of good names there, and while he doesn't qualify, Adames, you mentioned, he doesn't have official enough at bats. 290 is not enough, I guess, but if he did, he would have the 10th highest WRC plus in baseball and the 9th highest WOBA in baseball. And like Tampa lost the trade. Like Tampa never loses the trade, but I think Tampa lost the trade, right? I think that's what happened.
I would have never guessed that this guy was this good offensively, but yeah, he is.
All right, what do you have for me as far as the outfield?
Okay, Yelich, obviously. We've talked about Duvall, Soler down there. JD Martinez against the lefty. And then the other name I'll throw out there, guy's hitting the ball very, very hard right now. He's an extremely streaky hitter, George Springer. When he gets hot, you want to be on it. When he's not hitting the ball well, like he was there for about 3-4 weeks, you don't want to play him. But right now, very good. His recent exit velocity is showing you that he's making solid contact. So I like George Springer.
He's finally healthy. I'm glad you're not bitter about it. Former Astro, like you're okay. He left. You're cool with that. No problems.
Just you can't pay everybody. So good for him to get his money. I wish him nothing but the best. I feel like we got just as good of a team right now. We have just as good of a leadoff hitter. left behind, and our outfield is pretty loaded. So I'm fine with George Springer leaving.
Just don't rip off his jersey when he hits the walk-off there.
Dean, let's not.
He's very shy. You ask his wife, he's very shy.
Dean, you need to pump the brakes here, man. Stop these accusations, Dean.
I'm just saying, he said it himself. Like, he's
frivolous accusations, Dean.
How's that tattoo working out for him as well? Did that ever get finished, the tattoo?
I don't know, Dean. You guys, he had a rough year last year because you guys were mentally trying to break him, but he's back this year.
Well, he took a week off from the All-Star break. He wanted to recharge his batteries. There was no other reason why he didn't go. But a couple of cheapies on DK. Austin Hayes is 2.5K and Santander at 2.3K against Skubal. Skubal, talented guy, but he will give up some fly balls, will give up some homers. Just kind of a way to make things work for sure. Castellanos is still too cheap. I know he's been frustrating of late, but 4.4K is the wrong price. Bellinger is starting to hit the ball. Like, you mentioned Yelich, and like both those guys, Bellinger and Yelich, two former MVPs. I think they're both MVPs on just having dreadful seasons. Bellinger mostly due to injury. I guess both injury. You mentioned Yelich.
I disagree with that one.
Which one?
Bellinger.
You don't like Bellinger tonight?
No, I disagree that he's having a bad year because of injury. He's had a bad year. He's had a bad 2 years because he's probably just not that good.
Oh wow, that's a hot.
There's been rumors, Dean, that his MVP season was maybe tainted with some cheating. So that's all I'm saying.
You're okay.
And then when they took it away, now all of a sudden you see what the finished product you get is this Bellinger right here.
It's so interesting to get your perspective on, because you were so quick to defend Jose Altuve. But
no, I'm just, you can't be a hypocrite. You just can't be a hypocrite here, Dean. These guys can't, you just got to call it like you see it.
All right, let's bring Devin on. Devin, he's not a hypocrite at all. He has no bias of any sort. He's just compiled a bunch of questions for us. What's up, Devin?
Not much, Dean. You got me worried. There's skeletons in my closet or something.
I will remember.
Yeah, let's actually jump right into lightning round because we got just about 4.5 minutes left. So Let's go to some stacks. I've got a couple of them on here. Got a couple from chat. So Chop, let's start with you. Toronto, 1 through 5.
Yeah. What do you want me to rate the hitters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this your first time playing the stacks game, Chop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
All right.
5 means you absolutely love the stack. 1 means you hate it. You can figure out what the middle is.
I thought you wanted me to name the batters 1 through 5.
No,
you know what? I played this game before. I thought I was thinking it was something else. All right. 1 through 5. That lineup against that pitching, I'm going to give it a 4.
Dean?
4.5. I like Toronto a good bit.
All right. Sticking with you, Dean. Cardinals.
Yeah, Will Crow's not really good, but it's the Cardinals. The ballpark stinks. We're in lightning round. I'll say a 3.
Chop.
3.7.
Oh, all right.
Getting technical. Decimals on me. All right.
Baltimore, Chop.
Oh, man. Not a big fan. 2.9.
I'm going to price this right you. 2.91.
Oh, my God. Oakland, Dean.
Yeah, 3. They're fine.
Chop.
I like them. I got to check on this delay, but
I think I saw a message from Roth. He said no promises, but I fully expect they let this second batch clear and then play without issue. So
yeah, then let's go with a sneaky 4.1.
The rating is sneaky. Dean, did you give Oakland?
Yeah.
Dodgers.
I wasn't aware of the weather, but Dodgers are also a 4.5. I like the Dodgers. I mean, I like all the good stuff. Yeah, the Dodgers are gonna. There's no Justin Turner in that lineup as well, for what it's worth, but the lineup's still pretty thick. And Bellinger's gonna bang one out just to show Chopper.
Would you say the Dodgers lineup has a lot of girth?
Well, no, there's no Rowdy Talese or so not necessarily. But what they lack in girth, they make up in power.
Yeah, I don't like the two of the big guns missing and a pretty decent pitcher on the mound. I'm gonna go 3.2.
All right, last one. Tampa Bay. Chop.
Good ballpark, fair matchup, good lineup. I think Choi is sneaky, so I go 3.7.
Ooh, 3.69.
Jesus, Dean.
Killing me, Smalls.
You're just making up numbers now, Dean.
That's a real number.
Let's knock out these last few real quick. Got about 2 minutes left. BJ wants to know if we could spend some time talking cash. What are your DK Cash SPs, Dean?
Yeah, so assuming Burns is clear and good to go, and that's a big assumption, but last report we
Well,
saw.
while you're on it, what are you doing? If you were playing cash, how are you going to interpret that?
Yeah, I'm not playing a ton, but I'm playing in the big 25, like in the 50, like single entry. Right now I have Burns and Montas. If I have the salary for Gaussman, I'm happy to take Gaussman, but two of those three, two of Burns, Gaussman, and Montas. And again, you can make it work pretty easily with some cheap stuff out there.
And what maybe one or two anchor bats that you're having in your cash lineup?
Yeah,
have Park in there for salary saving?
No, I don't think so. I don't want to say no because I hate speaking in definitives, but I'm going to have at least one of the Baltimore cheapies, either Hayes or Santander, possibly two if I need them. 2.5K, 2.3K, and they really open stuff up for you.
I think Beer was looking at the Orioles for some salary savers today. Let's see, Chop, can you put in your Kirk D's BVP play of the day, and why is it Pedro Severino?
No.
No,
it's not Severino. So Chris Bryant is my BVP play of the day. If you want one completely like off the radar, Joey Wendell.
Oh, all right. Off the reservation.
I would say Talise is another guy. And Yelich, I don't know what to do with him. Like, I want to have the conversation. We don't have time for it, but I'm at a crossroads. If he's going to be super, super chalky, he's been terrible all season long, I might be less in the field than Yelich, but whatever. That's
and
where I'm
we
at.
don't have the conversation or the time for the conversation, but I'd love to talk about it as well, about how the Cardinals they just look so great every night, but then Goldschmidt, Arenado, they just do nothing. Tilting me. DeMontis wants to know, are anyone taking a chance on Tukey tonight?
Yeah, we talked about that. I think we both said no. No interest in. Fun name to say, Tukey Toussaint, but I'm not going to play him.
It just rolls right off. Let's see. Favorite SP for tournaments that isn't Gaussman or Burns? Montes?
I think it's
Definitely.
Montas.
Definitely.
All right, we'll end with this one from Michael. Milwaukee showing in Slate IQ is around 1.5% owned. That's counter to what I think and what maybe we've said about expected ownership. Maybe if we want to talk about that real quick.
Chop, I'm pulling it up right now. That's got to be wrong. 1.5%? Is that what we're talking about?
I was looking at it on my side, and it looks like it's just a little bit below that, actually, on Slate IQ. But I got to imagine this weather is making things go flip-floppy.
It's a rough day to making ownership projections today because of the weather out there. So I don't really know what they're basing that off of. I would say the closer we get to lock, the more refined that becomes. But like Milwaukee, if assuming the weather is fairly positive, what we're seeing right now, and things change, they're not going to be sneaky, and people are going to be rostering them a ton. So at least that's my thought process. Yeah, we're seeing now total ownership. Milwaukee is at 24%, which I think is wrong. That's wrong, right, Chop?
I don't know, Dean. Like you said, it's tough because there's a lot of people there's a lot of lineups already out. People already put their lineups in, maybe, and they didn't play them because they thought it was yellow red or whatever. So I can't speak to the ownership tonight. This is going to be a tough one.
Give me a couple guys that are going to homer.
Yeah, that was one of the ones we were going to ask.
Home runs. Okay, Chris Bryant's going yard. G-Man Choi's going yard.
All right. I'll take Bellinger, and I'll take Adames.
Nicely done.
Really
all right.
nice.
Well, we're over time, Dean, so take us home.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Devin. I apologize for
It's
getting into crunch time. Of course, you guys are premium members. Y'all know crunch time is at 6:30. Kevin Ross, chief meteorologist, all over that. Let you guys know what's going down weather-wise. You got Dave Potts. Cheese is good. 2-time millionaire winner, just like Chopper. Both you guys are in the club.
Wait, that's 4 times between the two of you?
Yeah.
That's
a lot of millions.
UCF math?
Yeah, collectively, we've won the millionaire twice. Even you, Devin, if we include you in.
Woo!
All three of us. And Cardi will be on there too. You guys know Cardi. Yeah, that'll be a fun conversation to tune in. And I believe tomorrow night is a very short slate, so I think tomorrow night it's free. Do you know this, Devin?
Tomorrow morning. Oh, yeah. Actually, we have 2 free crunch times tomorrow. We got an AM free one and a PM free one. So we'll see you all on YouTube.
There you go. That was Devin. That was Chopper. That was Baseball. I was Dean. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button on your way out. Do subscribe. Turn on notifications. We're out of here. Ho!